evening.
Thanks for joining us today. We're excited to be here for a virtual beer tasting. We are at the CityWay Residences Tower Lounge, so we're very fortunate to have a beautiful view on this gorgeous day. We wish we were there with you, but we'll do it virtual and make it awesome. If you have a drink with you, go ahead and get it ready, or grab a drink, grab a beer. If you have a Taxman beer, obviously that's a win for today, but otherwise something local, a nice glass of wine or a cocktail, anything to just cheers with us. I'm Leah. I'm one of the owners of Taxman. I'm the Chief Operating Officer, and I'm very excited just to be part of this tasting with you today.
And I'm Nathan Holzbush, her better half, the president and CEO, one of the founders of Taxman. Taxman kind of gets its name from my background. I was a tax professional before I jumped into the world of beer. So Leah and I started Taxman about 6 years ago. We're two of the 4 owner-operators that run the business. We've obviously grown quite a bit in the last 6 years. We have 3 locations now. One in Bargersville, where we originally started our business and do all the brewing. One right across the street here in CityWay, and one in Fortville, about 5-6 minutes east of Geist Reservoir.
So feel free to put any questions or comments in the chat. We're obviously doing this virtually, so we need you to engage with us, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Amber is being our gracious moderator and letting us know when there's questions or comments, so feel free to throw those in there and we'll get to them. So while we have been in the stay-at-home, all of our locations are currently closed. We're not serving food. We are doing pop-up beer sales, and it's been something very helpful. It's allowed us to keep our brew team engaged and employed, and just continue to serve fresh beer for everyone who's stuck at home. It's much better if you have beer. We actually have some sales happening this weekend. We'll be doing one at the CityWay location right across the street on Thursday, which is tomorrow from 4 to 7. We'll have one in our Fortville location on Friday from 4 to 7, and then Saturday we'll be in Bargersville from 12 to 4. So if any of those are in your neck of the woods, we'd love to see you. Everything's done online, so you can pre-order all of your beer, prepay. Basically, you pull up to the front of the location. If it happens to be CityWay here across the street, you come to the Louisiana-Delaware intersection.
Yeah.
There's a side entrance for our location. Pull up. One of our staff members will come out, grab your name, and then bring your beer, pop your trunk, have us open the door. But it's pretty much as touch-free as possible. We're doing our best to keep it safe for everyone. So we'd love to see you. We'd love to have your orders.
Yeah, thank you for your support. Very, very limited interaction. We'll smile, say hi, and send you anywhere with beer.
You can just flash your driver's license, show us your ID through the window too. If you really don't even want to put your window down, that's absolutely an option.
We are featuring 2 of the new beers that will be available this weekend in our tasting tonight, so we can talk about that a little bit more. We're also working on a couple really fun projects while we are closed. We are in the process of getting our stage completed at the CityWay locations, so that will be built hopefully next week, maybe the week after. We had to do a couple things to put an extra ramp into the sidewalk, but we're going to be fully operational on the patio when we're open. We're looking forward to that very much, especially with a day like today and the weather. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, without any further ado, let's get into the beer tasting. We need a drink, for sure. First off, so this is a beer we do once a year. Usually when you talk about barrel-aged beers, bourbon comes to mind. People use a lot of bourbon barrels, especially here with the access to Kentucky and the fresh supply. We brought 2 barrel-aged beers tonight, neither of which are bourbon barrel-aged. So the first one is a Belgian triple. So all the beers that we do are Belgian-inspired. So if you don't know about our background, Leah and I lived in Brussels, Belgium for almost 3 years before we moved to Indiana. So fell in love with the beers, absolutely. Got to travel the country, all these funky little breweries in very small farm towns. So that kind of inspired us to start our small funky brewery in Bargersville. So this is a Belgian triple. So if you're not familiar with Belgian triples, they are high alcohol blonde beers. Most of the beers that we do kind of gravitate up the ladder pretty quickly. We have a lot of beers in the 8 to 10% range. This one is 9%. 9%. We use candy sugar in a lot of our beers, so that ends up increasing the alcohol content, but not necessarily creating a really heavy body. So triples are a good example of that. They tend to rely on candy sugar to get some of that alcohol boost, but they end up being a little bit lighter in body because they have a highly fermentable sugar source. So we used our exemption base, which is our standard triple that's available, Kroger, Big Red, throughout town, all of the major retail channels. This one we put in a mezcal barrel. So if you're not familiar with mezcal, it's kind of like tequila's funky weird brother or cousin. It's using agave. It's a very kind of old traditional process where they cook the agave, they give it a smoky infusion, and it's actually generally not barrel aged, so it's kind of hard for us to find mezcal barrels. But when we saw that we could get fresh mezcal barrels on a fairly consistent basis, we thought, wow, this would be really good with our triple because it's got that smoke with the coriander, the orange peel, and the citrus notes of the triple. So this is one we do every year. We usually try to position it to be released right about the time of the Indiana Brewers Cup, which is this fun beer competition. It's not just Indiana breweries, but it's definitely heavily influenced by the breweries here in Indiana, a big competition. This is one of the barrel age categories 2 years in a row, so it's we're looking forward to competing, trying for a third this year, but I don't think it hasn't officially been canceled yet, but we'll see what ends up happening with that. Hopefully they can still do it.
Speaking of collaborations, we have a question from Miss Ashley Parker. She would like to know if we are going to collaborate with any other brewers on special beers.
Ooh, that's a good question. We actually have one in the works. It's been a little bit delayed just because of everything that's happening, but we're working on a project with Uplift. So we've done a really fun sour style beer.
And it actually relies on the same base beer that we're drinking today. So Upland has a terrific, amazing sour program. They have an entire wood shop that's dedicated just to their sour program. So they have these big wooden vats called fooders, and we filled up an entire fooder with our exemption. So it's hopefully still going to happen, and we're looking forward to that release when it does.
The audience is excited. We're getting some thumbs up.
Okay. Yeah, so cheers. Now, typically when we barrel age, especially blonde beers, some of the color from the barrel, a lot of these barrels are charred, so it does add some additional color. So exemption, if you've seen it before, it's not usually this dark. It added a couple extra SRM, sweet color increment of darkness to it. The mezcal barrel obviously comes through the smokiness of the mezcal comes through.
Definitely on the back end of your palate. I mean, it's like if you're drinking a Chardonnay or something that's oak aged, you definitely get that residual oak flavor from the barrel on the back of your palate, and it's really nice. It works nice with the smokiness and like the coriander and orange peel that we were talking about earlier. You know, it's a very finessed beer. I feel like very sophisticated beer. Like exemption and triple is as it is, and then you add the layer with the barrel aging, and I think it pairs beautifully.
Yeah, you also pick up some vanilla from the barrel. So typically, American oak, French oak, one of the flavors that it commonly imparts is vanilla. A little bit of the alcohol note from that as well. So this is a fun beer. It's available once a year. We do distribute this outside of our location, so you can pick this up in Big Red, Kroger, Target, Crown, all of our retail partners. And they've really been key for us. So with the restaurant shutdown, that's obviously it's been great for us to be able to work with so many great grocery and liquor stores to get our product out. And fortunately, people haven't stopped buying beer for consumption at home. So cheers to you if you're drinking some beer at home, especially if it's local.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Vault series, did you talk about the Vault series? The Vault series, which is what this is from, our barrel-aged or prolonged barrel-aged series that we do. And those are in cans. We used to do bomber releases, the big glass bottle releases. We've migrated all that to cans now. So you can always tell by the Vault style logo on the front that it's part of the barrel-aged barrel conditioning series.
Yep, and so the other thing we do on all of our beers is we do a can-on date. And so this was packaged on 4/16. Its first available date for release will be this weekend sale. So we're looking forward to getting that out in the market and another round of that. So one thing that as we transition to the next beer, one thing we were sad to miss this year, at least in its originally scheduled date, was Death and Taxes Day. If you're not familiar with Death and Taxes Day, it was supposed to be, when we originally did the festival, it was not ever intended to be a big festival. It was just a few breweries in our parking lot.
We started with 10, so the first Death and Taxes Day was in 2014.
This is the 6th year, so let's do that now. Yeah.
Yep, 2014.
And it was fun. We had 10 breweries that joined us for that festival, and we sold
400 tickets.
Yeah, so it started out very small, very intimate, and we did set up Bargersville location, and we have our whole parking lot, we shut down the street, and then you've got the silos in the background. If you've been to Bargersville, it's incredibly quaint. You're in a farm town, absolutely, with grain elevators and silos behind you. So it's a really unique atmosphere. And Bargersville, for those of you who might not know, is only about 30 minutes, 35 minutes from where we are right now at CityWay. So 35 minutes south of downtown, and very approachable.
Yeah, anytime it's featured on the news, you get the banjo music, but it's really not that. It's 13.3 miles away.
You
So
don't
it's
have
not,
to be wearing your flannel to go
yeah, you don't have to drive a pickup truck. But yeah, we wanted to get people into town and just say, hey, look, this isn't that far. It's not that far from Indy. You can come visit us. It's not the sticks. So we created this small intimate festival. The first year went well. We doubled the size the second year, and then now it's a 50 brewery festival with usually about 22 to 2,500 people. So it's about as much as the town can handle in terms of parking and space. But it's an awesome day. So
Well, we bring in a great live band. In addition to breweries, we also have local wineries. Like Mallow Run Winery comes. There are Bargersville neighbors and wonderful. We've had Ash and Elm cider. So we've got different options for people who, if you're not even into beer, or you kind of like to try other things as well, we try to bring in a good variety.
yeah. So traditionally that's the Saturday after April 15th. So we're celebrating. Hopefully everyone getting a refund check or whatever.
That's the intent of it, right?
Yeah, that's the intent.
Or you filed and you really need a 13+% beer.
So that was last weekend. Unfortunately, we had to postpone the festival. We've postponed it until April 29th, so it's April 29th.
No, it's not. It's August 29th.
Oh, sorry, August. My goodness, April 29th is like next week.
Well, we were just excited to know what day of the week it was. I feel like every day it's like Groundhog Day. We have to
That's
check
for
the
sure.
calendar, so.
Yeah, so it's August 29th.
August 29th, so this August 29th of 2020, it's a Saturday at Bargersville. It's from 12 to 4. There are tickets available. You can go to taxmanbrewing.com, our website. You go to the Taxes Day, or Death and Taxes, I think is just the heading at the top of the website, and buy tickets that way. There are DD tickets, so if you want to come and you're going to be the designated driver, that's an option. But otherwise, it's general admission. You have to be 21. You cannot bring dogs, children, cats, mice, or squirrels.
Yeah, no pets.
We get a lot of random questions.
Yeah.
I used to field all the questions. We've got a great team helping out, but those things are always helpful. But it's a great day. It's super fun.
Oop, our camera's having a mind of its own over here. Too many beers.
Yeah, so one of the things we do for that festival every year is we release a Imperial Stout called Evasion. It used to be called Death and Taxes, but we had some trademark issues with the brewery in California, so we changed it to Evasion 3 years ago. So Evasion gets released once a year just for this festival. Since we didn't know in October that we weren't going to be having the festival in April, we've got the beer, it's ready, it's packaged. This weekend, all of the Evasion plus the variants will be on sale in our stores. So that's just something to keep an eye on. So Evasion this year, the base Evasion is 14% alcohol, so it's like drinking a decent Napa wine in terms of the alcohol content.
Just not wanting to stay straight. Yeah, that's just giving you a virtual tour of
That's
it.
the Evasion work.
The Evasion wiggle.
We have 4 variants though of Evasion, so each year we do something usually a little bit different. We try to keep people on their toes. This year we brought back one from last year, our maple version. And we'll talk about that in a minute. That's what we're going to taste. We also have a cherry vanilla version. We have a mint chocolate.
It's like
and we have a coconut and a spice rum barrel. So 4 really fun flavors. Most of the base beers are aged in bourbon barrels except for 2. The spice rum barrel for the coconut, which is cool because it provides like a neat spicy note to go with the coconut. Kind of gives you that Caribbean vibe. And then the maple, which we're going to pour right now.
So the base beer, was it 14% this year alcohol?
Yeah, 14.
So it ended up at 14. Every year it's a little bit different, just depends on the final gravity of the beer, but it was 14% is our finished alcohol content for this year. And then it's an Imperial Belgian style, so you're definitely that thick, a little more viscous, dark stout beer. But then you can, I think that the variants are a fun way because it kind of allows you to, like with the cherry, for example, I feel like the cherry fruit infusion or the aperitif, it lightens the beer a little bit because you have a little bit of that acid cutting it. So it's really fun to see the way that you can take the base beer and affect it through barrel aging or fun additives
Yeah.
for aging.
And it is a base beer. It's not as roasted or like as coffee forward as a lot of like American stouts. It's going to have some more nuanced flavors, some caramel notes, some dark fruit notes in addition to what you would classically think a stout flavor would be. So the cool thing about maple, and the reason that I think we'll continue to do maple,
There's like 5 cool things about
there are a few cool things about this. But one and I just like to say the word, our head brewer, his family has a sugar bush, and that's what they call maple farms. And he has his family has a sugar bush in upstate New York. So all of the maple that we use, all of the actual maple syrup that we use in this beer comes from his sugar bush. So that's the Yancey Sugar Bush in upstate New York.
Awesome, and we actually get to have canisters of the maple syrup too, so it's a double win. We get to have that for our pancakes and also for the beer.
Yeah. And the other unique thing is that the barrels that this is aged in, while they once contained bourbon, what they had in them before our beer was maple syrup. So it's actually a barrel-aged maple syrup that was in the barrels before we got them. So you're actually putting the beer into a barrel that just had maple syrup in it. Gives it an amazing aroma, gives it an amazing flavor. Really, really cool.
You can get so much maple syrup on that nose. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's like shoving your face into like a breakfast pancake with the coffee coming out.
This is a breakfast beer.
Yeah.
You know what? This is a quarantine breakfast beer.
Yeah.
Because you can
Perfect.
definitely start your day with this beer.
You can start your day, you can end it,
At
either
the
way.
same time, if you're not careful.
Yeah, 14%, you don't want to go too long too early, but
It's really nice, and this is a beer too that you probably want to pour and then drink a little bit later. As it opens, let it warm up a little bit because you will get so much more of those flavors coming out. And I think as we sit here and drink it, it's going to change just as it warms a little bit. It's just such a cool beer.
well, a lot of the beers that we make, all the beers we brought tonight, they're not really what you classically think of as a beer. Like you wouldn't drink the beers that we're drinking tonight like you would a lighter German style lager. You're going to drink these more like wine. You're going to take your time. You're going to sip on it. You figure this is 12 ounces of 14% beer. This is essentially half a bottle of wine here. So you don't want to slug one in a 30-minute time period. You want to, again, let it warm up. Take your time. Just enjoy the evening. It's the reason we sell these in a 2-pack is because you really don't need more of a 2-pack. It's a bottle of wine per 2-pack essentially.
Well, I think that's, and I love this about the Belgian culture, is it's very much a sharing culture. Their concept is and that's European in general, and I think we've gotten into it in the United States as well. It's like, open something special with friends, share it together, 6 feet apart, not right now. But in general, the concept is sharing, and I think that's what these beers are meant to do. Open a mezcal, beer redemption, and you share it with a friend, and it's really a special experience. And I think that's the social element that we love so much about craft beer is, just finding something neat to introduce your friends to, and I think these beers are definitely unique and special and something fun to share. And in 12 ounces, I think that's we used to do these in the large format bombers, and that was a lot to drink. Once
Yeah, that was a lot to consume by
You need
yourself.
a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Well, people are already buying tickets for August, not April 29th, so they're excited about that.
It's great. had beautiful, this past Saturday would have been the Taxes Day if it hadn't been scheduled. We had a great day, but I think we'll,
It'll be the first one I think you can say shorts are gonna work
Yeah.
out. And it'll be weird having a big stout in the middle of summer. Like we'll see what that does to people. But
well, the great thing is there are so many different beers available with 50 different breweries, plus our team bringing out some really special beers too. There'll be plenty of wine options. I think people will plan accordingly. And that's something too I love about Taxes Day is the breweries that come bring such a fun, wide variety of beers, and I think it's just a great opportunity for Indiana breweries to show off what they're doing, what they're proud of, and what they're known for. We do Belgian beers predominantly, but there's so many different styles there, and I think it's a great opportunity just to try.
yeah, we're very lucky as a state. We have I think over 180 breweries now. A lot of them here in central Indiana doing amazing beers, creating great atmospheres, great tap rooms. It was so cool to see the progression of the scene since it's kind of weird, we're only a 6-year-old company, but we're that mid-tier kind of first wave after the originals, so we've seen a couple of tiers after us, and it's just great to see each new wave of innovation. We're excited to see what continues. Hopefully this doesn't set us back too much.
Do we have any plans to sell Taxman out of Indiana, out of state?
We do occasionally. So there's especially in this environment, there's a company called Tavor. They're it's like
Tavour.
and I know a couple other Indiana breweries sell through them, but they basically have a warehouse that it's in Washington State, and they end up pushing beer to 17 or 18 different states at this point. Really great. They have a lot of really unique beers. I don't think you have to have a monthly commitment or anything. You can just go on, check out their site, and buy it. They ship it directly to your door. Great people. We've worked with them for 4 years, and they pick up a pallet to 2 pallets a month usually. So it's a great outlet. It's a good way for us to get our beer out there.
Yeah, at this point we're not probably in a position, we'd have to do a pretty decent sized expansion of our brew house to be able to increase our output, and we're selling everything we have in state and then with Tavor, and we're just not quite to the point of that expansion yet. So we someday might sell outside the state of Indiana, but at this point, because we self-distribute the majority of our beer, it's working quite well with the system we have in place.
And we're very happy with Indiana. They've treated us extremely well. People might have thought we were a little crazy when we said we're going to do Belgian beer. We're only going to sell in Indiana, but it's worked out. It's worked out great.
Awesome.
What else? Anything else?
Any other questions?
No questions. I think they are just really interested to see what else is going to be in the sale tomorrow, or what the sale's about tomorrow.
Lots of good stuff. Tropical Wood Help is one I think that's really fun as we have these more beautiful sunny days. It's our traditional Belgian wheat white ale, but we've actually added 3 fruits, and I have to remember them each time. It's the passion fruit, orange, and guava.
Yeah.
And I make it up sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, oh, we put banana in it. No, there's no banana. No, I'm kidding. But it's a really fun beer. I love Belgian wheats. I think they're super approachable. It's 5% alcohol, so it's a really good session beer. But it's just a really cool style. You get some of the coriander, orange peel, of course, but then the fruit just takes it to that next level. And I think you had one today.
Yeah, I have one on the back. It's great.
What is your favorite beer right now? And then I guess what is your favorite quarantine beer? That's another good question.
Well, so we are actually moving. So one of the questions Amber was asking us earlier was, what are we doing with our time right now? And besides working, which is keeping us very busy, these sales and a lot of the things we're doing to prepare for our reopening kept us quite busy. We're actually moving, and so we have quite a selection of beers that we've been aging. Some we brought back from Belgium that are 12 years old, 10 years old.
Yeah, we've been finding all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, so every few hours, Nathan has one in the fridge and pops one out, and we try and just say like, keep her dump. And we've actually pulled some of our Taxman beers that we've kept in the cellar, and Investor was a really fun one. So Investor is a Belgian strong blonde we did,
And it's just the sweetness from the beers kind of taken over. The vanilla's still there. It's really mellowed out nicely. So that was last year's Investor. Investor's also available.
Yeah.
This year's Investor is available right now. We just
and
did
in the
that.
sale. So Investor is super fun. I like this year two, but it's also one that you could drink some of it now and then keep it for a couple months and just see how it changes. But I think that's one of the fun things about Belgian style beers is they're higher in alcohol. While they're great to drink as they're released, some of them do age nicely.
Yeah. So what beers are we digging the most? They're the ones that are right in front of us. usually really good.
Chosen these.
You chose your favorites.
Yeah, the
Smart
mezcal,
move.
The mezcal exemption, I look forward to this every year. It's one run and done, and it's great.
It's a very fun beer. And exemption happens to be, the exemption-based beer is one of our best-selling beers across our locations and in outside sales. So this is a really fun variant on that. It's a fun take on a well-known beer.
Do we have any favorite cocktails or wine that we've been experimenting with?
Yes, so we love wine too, and I'm trying to understand my wine knowledge better, to get better into my wine knowledge. We've done a lot of travel, but Italy is a region of the world. Italy, sorry, Italian wines, Italian wines, Piedmont region, and Nebbiolo, great. We're trying to just kind of appreciate them more, and we find ourselves going lighter and lighter in styles, and so there's an Angolan Nebbiolo we've been drinking a lot of lately, and it's just a nice light red. It's not super heavy.
We're trying to use this time and this wine drinking to figure out our spring menu for Taxman. So we're in the process of rewriting and replacing some of what would be traditionally more winter style heavier wines with some lighter bodied reds and kind of increasing that side of the menu.
And on the flip side, Sauvignon Blancs are always, I think, a great spring summer wine. So we delved into those, and we were in South Africa a couple years ago, so we've fallen towards the South African styles of Sauvignon Blancs and also rosés. I think it's a perfect time for rosés, and we do carry a beautiful French rosé. Campouget is a really nice rosé. So we've drank that a little bit, and it's fun because we revisit some of the wines that we are currently carrying and saying, what do we want to do to complement this, or
we just had our chefs start today, as a matter of fact, on our new spring menu for whenever it is that we can actually relaunch. They're working on the menus as we speak. We've got 3 locations. We have 3 chefs. Each location has its own chef, so they have full control over those menus. So we're really excited. They're going to present their new menu items to us on Wednesday next week. So we're super excited about that.
Anything you guys want to see on the menu? Anything that you are really, really craving as you've been home cooking for yourselves or getting takeout? Any trends that we should pay attention to?
Yeah, let us know. We're definitely open.
Yes, post in the comments if there's any special requests you want to see, any special items.
I'll tell you personally, I'm excited about having frites again. The Belgian frites, the double fried pork fat French fries are one of the things that we're known for, and I eat my fair share of those. I'm really missing them. And I've had a lot of friends message me and say, so can I just get a cheeseburger? And we look forward to doing food again.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that. I know everyone's looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Salads, though, I think salads will be
salads.
great start. As we stop boozing as much.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We enjoyed the chat. Hopefully you did. It's difficult with a phone. You don't get a whole lot of feedback, but
we assume that you're all laughing and think we're so funny as much as we think we are. But no, appreciate you very much, and look forward to some great Maven events with you guys this year, with CityWay, with Taxman, and thanks again for asking us to do this with you today. Cheers.
All right, thanks guys.